Scientists and historians have hypothesized for centuries about the mysteries of the sea floor. What happens miles beneath the surface in the dark depths of the ocean? In 1950, many questions still remained. Roger Revelle, a bright young marine biologist who had been appointed the 5th director of the prestigious Scripps Institution of Oceanography that year, was determined to discover the truth. The fog was dense the morning the expedition commenced. The end of the pier was lost in a foreboding mist. Revelle boarded the Horizon with 32 of his best scientists and a crew of 85 technicians and set off to conquer the expanse of the Great Pacific. Within 6 weeks, Revelle and his crew had already made revolutionary discoveries. That's when disaster struck. Or so it seemed at the time. It was a Friday morning. The sky was clear and the sun was scorching. Crew members were resuming their research from the day before. In a sudden shift, the wind picked up and the clouds rolled in. A sense of unease fell throughout the crew. Within minutes, the ship began to rock. The ocean began to rumble. Waves began to rise up and flood the deck. For 8 hours, thunder and lightning prevailed. When the rain subdued and the sea calmed, Revelle, exploring the damage, noticed a large conch shell, perfectly shaped and embossed with rivulets of gold and red hues, conspicuously lying on the deck. It must have been washed up in the storm, thought Revelle. Revelle placed the end of the shell to his lips and blew, and from it a sound emerged like no one had ever heard. It was deep and sonorous, powerful. Everyone turned to face the bow, where the water had begun to stir, and at that moment a large mass emerged. It appeared to be a man, but had larger than normal proportions. He glided through the water towards the ship. The crew was taken aback when he spoke. "Who has sounded my lost conch?" Stricken with fear, Revelle timidly raised his hand. The merman responded, "I have been in anguish, searching for my precious horn, and you have found it. I am forever indebted to you. I am Triton, son of Poseidon and Amphitrite. I rule the sea with my trident, which fires lightning to conquer evil. With my conch shell, I can tame the ocean or cause it to swell with crashing waves to defeat my enemies. Enlighten me with your ways, and I will aid you in your journey." Awestruck with disbelief, Revelle introduced his crew and described their mission. A partnership was thus struck between the sea god and the wayfaring scientists. To seal the relationship, Triton instructed a dolphin to venture to the ocean floor and retrieve a new conch, which he endowed with the capacity to communicate directly with him. When blown from anywhere in the world, Triton gave the shell to Revelle and ascended into the depths without another word. On their trip back to the coast of La Jolla, many doubted what they had seen, but the shell was a physical reminder of what had happened on their incredible journey. Business resumed as usual at Scripps Institution of Oceanography. The shell was placed on a shelf in Revelle's office. Although intrigued by the conch, he had no idea what to do with it. Several years passed. During this time, it was proposed that a new University of California campus be built on La Jolla, which would serve as a graduate school to train scientists. Revelle was a strong supporter of this initiative and spent much of his time attending meetings, speaking to committees, and representing the idea of a world-class learning institution. As obstacles presented themselves in the form of land acquisition disputes, funding roadblocks, and complicated negotiations over what kind of school UC San Diego would become, Revelle thought of the shell in the Triton's words. As he sat in his office one afternoon, he picked it up and turned it over in his hands. He needed to clear his head. He took the shell with him and went outside and proceeded to walk up the hill into the eucalyptus groves, where he envisioned the new campus. At the tallest point, he raised the shell, and with all the breath he could muster, sounded the horn loud and clear. Revelle half expected Triton's visage to appear in the waves below, and when it did not, he laughed at his foolish imagination. He spent a few more moments looking towards the horizon before making his way back home for the night. The next morning, Revelle made a cup of coffee and sat down to read his daily memos. On the top of the pile, he spotted the UC seal. It was a letter from President Sproul informing him that the proposal for San Diego campus had been approved. A land grant was in process of being signed, and the UC Board of Regents fully supported the new campus. He glanced at the shell and thought it couldn't be. Less than a year later, on November 18, 1960, the University of California, San Diego was officially chartered. The city of San Diego granted free land to the university, prize-winning professors signed on to teach, and the first students enrolled in the fall of 1964. At the groundbreaking ceremony for First College, the campus's first students at UC San Diego decided to name Triton as the school mascot, embracing their connection with the sea. Triton became an icon on campus. Makeshift Tritons abounded. A suit was made in his likeness to encourage school spirit at athletic events. Even the campus newspaper was dubbed the Triton Times. Sensing that it was time to pass the torch, Revelle presented the conch to UC San Diego's first chancellor, Herbert York, to be awarded to each chancellor into perpetuity. Triton arrived in a swell of water, surrounded by dolphins and fish of all shapes and sizes. Standing tall with all of his might, he addressed Revelle, York, and the crowd with appreciation and wonder. If you maintain your intellectual curiosity and never cease to explore new horizons, you will achieve great things, prophesied Triton. United together, you can transform the world. From this point on, UC San Diego students, faculty, staff, and alumni, now known as Tritons, became ambassadors of knowledge. Experimentation and curiosity reigned, resulting in the solutions to some of the world's most pressing issues, like preserving the Earth's natural resources, improving the quality of medical care, and developing new ways to communicate and share ideas. International collaborations and local research centers blossomed. Although Triton always remained ensconced in the ocean, a statue of his likeness was cast in bronze in order to allow the sea god to experience life on campus. Today, the bronze Triton holds court in front of the stairs at Price Center East. The mystical hero's presence and influence continues to inspire and unite all UC San Diego Tritons who seek to emulate their mentors' ideals of fellowship, service, and enlightenment.